From rural to urban, we bring you local and international sport.
From Cape to Cairo, from Nairobi to Kinshasa. As we stand out amongst the rest. And we are here to inspire you.
From the Horn of Africa to the Equator's indigenous people.
Galaxy Universal Network, religisa ditaba tse felletseng.
Abapenyi bezindaba nezintatheli ezingesabilutho.
Bila woga, upendeleo, hatuogopi chochote.
Channel 500 on Starset. This is Galaxy Universal Network.
Welcome back. Yes, you're still with us right here on the Pan-African Morning Show, right here on Galaxy Universal Network. And earlier on, we had brought you a story about retrenchments at the SABC.
SABC, yes.
Right? So that is what's happening. People are losing their jobs everywhere. And the SABC staff have come out to say that they've received retrenchments letters.
Yes, yes.
And on the line, okay.
Yeah. It's a very interesting story that we both want to talk about it right here. Exactly. Of course, on the line we are joined by Mr. Hannes Du Besson, who's a representative, and there's a spokesperson for the union representing SA or rather the communications workers. Now, Mr. Du Besson, thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate your time. And we are happy that we didn't wake you up. So you're an early bird yourself, hey?
Good morning. Yes, I am indeed.
It is obviously unfortunate that we are speaking to you this morning with regards to a very unpleasant news of South African Broadcasting Corporation intending, or rather sending Section 159 or 89 of retrenchment of staff at the SABC. Please tell us, how was first this message communicated with you? Did you guys have, a round table discussion before this decision was taken?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, there wasn't. The SABC started to engage us in what they called urgent meetings to look at the new operating model of the SABC. So we had 2 weeks ago, we had the first meeting, an hour meeting with them, an online, a virtual meeting. And we were taken through a broad overview of the SABC and where we are and who the stakeholders are and the relationships and so on. And then last week, Thursday, there was another follow-up meeting scheduled in terms of that. And then we were confronted with a PowerPoint presentation. And on one of the slides, we noticed that there was a division that referred to unsustainable employee costs, which was, of course, a concern to us. And we raised the issue of the cost with the SABC, where we indicated to them that you cannot, because last week they have appointed new people at the SABC. You cannot appoint people on the one hand and then you're talking about unsustainable costs. And we wanted to know from them, how do you intend to address that cost? Because there are several ways that can be done. We didn't get clarity on that, and then yesterday we had a follow-up meeting of that meeting. Now, the SABC promised us that presentation, which we never received. So the meeting started late because management was had another meeting. They joined slightly late in that meeting, and that we spent basically the entire hour to get the SABC to send us the presentation, give us the opportunity to go through that presentation and then respond with questions. So the meeting time unfortunately ran out, and literally minutes after that meeting ran out, without any warning, without any heads up from the SABC side, all employees were served with this Section 189 letter, which is something that clearly could not have been drafted after the meeting. It is something that has been drafted before. It's a 12-page letter where they have listed several reasons in respect of why they contemplate dismissing about 600 people. And we are obviously concerned about those reasons.
So, Mr. Person, in the meantime, what can the staff members who received, their retrenchments letters do? Where can they get assistance from, and what are you guys going to do about it so far?
Well, as a trade union, we are going to oppose and fight these retrenchments for various reasons. For instance, if I can just briefly visit the reasons that they provided, they are saying that the shift of advertising spend has moved away from the SABC to online video, but that the organization does not have an adequate online value proposition. So that to us is something that management was supposed to do. They're talking about ineffective commercial product packaging, old uncompetitive pricing models, inadequate technology, a lack of requisite skills, and inefficient business processes. Those are all management functions. But here's the thing. Now they are saying they want to change the structure. Now, but certainly changing the structure is not going to address those critical issues. So we are gravely concerned about the way that the SABC has taken in this respect, and we are going to try our utmost best to persuade the SABC. Otherwise, we don't believe that the route that they are following by restructuring the SABC is going to change those particular things.
Mr. Tuposo, we do remember that a couple of weeks or months ago, or rather a year, the SABC had already gone to Parliament and requested the bailout, which they actually received about 3.2 billion rands to assist the SABC or resuscitate the SABC. And obviously, there were even calls to rather just privatize it because it was, an issue of management. And this was before COVID-19 came through. What exactly, except the skills, obviously, that they are claiming they do not have the right skilled people, which I still would like to know how, because SABC is actually one of the employers that have the best quality of employees that are working there. So how come they are also not skilled? And then two, why is it that they received 3.2 billion rands for bailout and then still they have to retrench? What was the money for?
Well, those are the kind of questions that we are going to ask them for. We know at least that they have spent quite a number of millions of rands on litigation, where they've not been successful at all, and they've not been successful in many of those litigation cases. For instance, the attempt to undo the so-called procedural appointments. That case must have costed the SABC quite a number of millions of rands, and we would have thought that the SABC would rather take that money and spend it in addressing this very issues that they are now listing in this retrenchment letter. But they've received buckets full of money, and they actually have nothing to show for that. So that is the concern on our side, is that and quite significantly, suddenly the number has more or less halved, because you remember in the previous round about a year ago, it was 1,000, I think almost 1,200, 1,100 and something employees affected. Now it is just halved, arbitrary. So there's lots of questions that is unanswered at this point in time, and we hope we're going to get those answers from the consultation process.
Mr. Person, the unfortunate part about this is that it is actually the people on the ground that are being retrenched, and we're not looking at the directors and the managers who are supposed to be getting very like higher, big salaries. So it is those people that are assistants and production assistants and all that are definitely losing their jobs at the expense of keeping the jobs of the directors and the, and the big managers at the SABC. Maybe we can, maybe the union can also come in and assist in that department, right?
Exactly. The question then on that statement, Mr. Dubuisson, will be, are you intervening in terms of, SABC's operations and salaries that are being paid? I mean, also would like to know if there are any consultants, because if they hire international consultants to come, or even if it's not international but local consultants don't come cheap. What are type of skills that the SABC is actually talking about? Because they are a broadcasting corporation, so we know that they are not doing some science that needs, a rocket scientist to come and be in that organization. What are some of the skills they are talking about, and are they getting those services from consultants?
Well, that is the other concern. For instance, with the skills audit, that they have appointed consultants to come and do the skills audit. The figures that is currently being presented to us is seemingly based on the skills audit, which has not been completed. So they've again put the cart before the horses, because as we speak, employees, many of them working from home, who does not have proper access, they have not completed the skills audit process. I think in the last presentation that the SABC has done, about half of the SABC's staff has completed the skills audit. So the figures in their letter must be skewed at this point in time. And we are really at a time when we as a country and the world are basically fighting for survival, just to stay alive, not being infected by this virus. People are now being served at this time with a Section 189 letter where they stand to lose their jobs, and we think that is, just to start off, that is inhumane at this point in time to do that, to serve such a letter on employees and put them in a position where they are very vulnerable at this point in time, and they now stand to lose their jobs. So we don't know what skills the SABC are referring to, that they say that they don't have. The SABC has got a skills audit or a work skills plan process. We are signing off as a union on that work skills plan. We are seeing hundreds of employees being trained every year. So it's not a matter of that employees cannot be trained or retrained. So those are the questions that management will have to answer. And as you've rightly said, we are now targeting 600 employees. We don't know how many of those are going to sit on directors and general managers and senior general managers and group executive levels. But most certainly you cannot cut an organization by 600 staff and then you want to maintain your top-heavy director and top management structures, because that must shrink accordingly.
Yes,
and
clearly,
that is something that needs to be taken to Parliament again, because I think that in the Broadcasting Act it specifically prescribes certain positions. So the Act must be changed so that the SABC can also downscale from the top.
Are you in a position to probably maybe hold them liable in terms of let them explain explicitly on what exactly are the skills that they are looking for? And are you going to be in any position to probably invite the Minister of Communications, Ms. Stella Ndabeni, to be part of the conversation? Because it is obvious that, maybe the SABC is not letting some of the conversation coming forward. And then also would like to know, you mentioned that SABC made a reason of most of things moving to another platform, which is an online platform. It is the SABC we are talking about. So moving to online, it's something that they should have already planned prior in advance. And if they haven't, we believe it shouldn't be such a big of an issue to move some of their services, to move with time, because obviously we are looking forward to that period where everybody can be able to watch television on their cell phones. Are you in a position to hold them liable and sit with them and say, Give us these answers first before you can actually retrench and maybe invite the minister to be part of your conversation.
Okay, so maybe let's start with the minister. The issue about the minister, she's not allowed, and we do not want her to get involved in operational issues. So, although she's responsible for the SABC, the government being the sole shareholder of the SABC, from a political point of view and a strategic point of view, I think that once the SABC as an organization is going to be in danger as a result of unmindful restructuring of the organization, that would have it not being able to fulfill its public mandate, because that is really what it's all about. And quite frankly, whether the SABC is making money or not, that is not material. As a public broadcaster, the SABC has got a constitutional duty to inform and to entertain the people of South Africa as a public broadcaster. So, most certainly, we are going to challenge the SABC on these issues, and this is the process of consultation. So we are going to ask those questions. We are going to ask for that information. And at the end of the day, if we are not satisfied with that there is really a rationale and reason to restructure the SABC, we will go to the Labour Court and we will challenge the retrenchments in the Labour Court. So those questions will be, most certainly, all of it will be asked, and the SABC is obliged by law to share that information with us. But that will then happen as the consultation process unfolds. As a last resort, that is an option for us to approach the government and then the minister and ask again for her intervening in this process, purely on the basis that the SABC is the public broadcaster that will deliver a public mandate to the people of South Africa.
Do you believe that probably the SABC is really in crisis because of, current situations that are happening around, of course, economy not really doing well all around the globe? Or is it a management issue at the SABC? If we can find another team, can it turn things around?
Management must manage the SABC, and if the SABC is in trouble after receiving all of the money, then that is something that most certainly management must take accountability for. I don't doubt that the SABC is financially in trouble, but the question is why? If these reasons that has been cited in the retrenchment letter, if those reasons are known to the SABC and in existence, why were those reasons never addressed by management? So they should have the foresight, they should have the ability as management to have positioned the SABC so that it addressed those particular issues.
Yeah.
The outdated pricing structures, non-competitive pricing, it's a simple one meeting and a decision. Guys, let's do something else here because we are overpriced. And that is a concern that has been raised with the SABC from our side, operationally, where we said to the SABC, for instance, you are charging people 10,000 Rand for 30 seconds. But then when the person says, all right, I want to advertise, you give them 50% discount. And it's ridiculous. Why do you do that? Why don't you tell people that we are going to charge you 5,000 Rand, come and advertise with us? But the businessman that sits outside and looks at these prices thinks, well, I can't afford this. There's a lot of unsold airtime currently at the SABC. Now, what do you do if you're selling bananas and you're selling them for 50 Rand a banana and you don't sell them and every day you have to throw them away? You drop your price to 30 Rand and 20 Rand until you see you're selling everything out, and then you start to increase your price gradually. You don't tell people, my bananas cost 50 Rand, but I'll give it to you for 25 Rand or for 5 Rand.
Well,
because
clearly,
what
Mr.
people
Basson,
see is what what they
Yes.
think they're going to pay.
Well, definitely, for sure. Clearly, there is probably some financial mismanagement at the SABC, but we are yet to see it, you know, with your intervention in it, you know, because right now the sad part is it's not only the 600 staff members that will definitely lose their jobs, but then it takes it down now to production houses that hires directors, and that goes down to even hiring of artists, you know. That's why, so the unemployment will definitely not only be the staff members, but it will go down to production houses and down to artists. But otherwise, thank you so much, Say, you know, for all the information and for,
and we wish you all the best, Mr. Dubuisson,
Thank
going
you
forward.
very much for having me. And I think, you know, if all else fails, then, you know, we shouldn't stop praying.
No, definitely. And we hope that we'll catch up with you as soon as you guys have any developments regarding this story.
Thank you, and good luck with your show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dubuisson. That was Mr. Dubuisson, representative for the union that is representing the SABC staff members. A very, very sad story in there, Palisa. And the reasons that the SABC is actually bringing in place as to why they have to retrench people. They are talking of skills. What skills at the SABC? Oh, I
The
don't
way I always look at it,
understand.
I mean, I've been in this industry long enough, Sisanda. The people that are actually more skilled, I would honestly never say that it's the management and, you know, the directors. How so? Because the people that are mainly working are the people on the ground, those people that make tea, the production assistant, production workers. The ones at the management are actually just managing because maybe they've got qualifications. But the people on the work, the camera people, the directors, you know, the producers, or even assistant producers, the production coordinators, for me, those are the people that are actually at work that are making the SABC
Yes.
to be what it is today.
I think another problem that we have seen, happen at the SABC is the fact that, you know, they were just, I think they created that, I could say maybe a fashion of people that do not, you know, multitask. For an example, you know, we always made an example that, you know, they will hire somebody maybe to be an editor, but that editor person will just have to sit and wait for somebody to write something. So this is when they come back and cry about skills, because when they say, okay, listen, we don't have enough money to pay, but we can actually put you in there and put so. People were not, you know, trained or given the platform to do as many, because even if we are 10 doing the same job, but if we can also intertwine and get into your job and the other person's job, then we are all productive, you know.
I mean, as a journalist myself, you know what I mean, as a news anchor, I don't just come to work and just read the news. I first need to start researching the news and writing my own bulletin. And after writing my own bulletin, making sure that we ingest, you know, to you guys viewers out there. So in SABC, a lot of people just do certain, you know, parts, and now you have a whole lot of people that are employed, you know, with different positions or unnecessary positions, and So
I mean, on top management, you're going to have the department of this and the manager there and the deputy manager and assistant manager. And then, you know, they keep on having too many different, you know, positions, especially on the management stories. I mean, I remember the time when the CFO, the CEO was there, and there was also a COO that was still doing,
like
you know, and then we've got
and the DDGs and
yes,
like so many positions.
you know,
like
you can
what
wake up
is
in the
this?
morning and like, yeah, today I feel like being an international broadcasting deputy assistant, and then you're gonna have a position at the SABC. It's really, really insane. Like, and these positions, they get paid a whole lot of money, and you actually do not know what they're doing. And right now, they have spent a lot of money fighting battles that they did not win. I'm glad I'm a lawyer, so I might have maybe apply for a job at the SABC and say, I will handle your legal, everything legal on your side, so you
On
can
that
actually
note,
pay
Your
me.
Honor, on that note, let's quickly take a short break so that we can come back, you know, just with the top of the hour news. We definitely are coming back. Stay tuned. Thanks for that, Your Honor.
From rural to urban, we bring you local and international sport.
From Cape to Cairo, from Nairobi to Kinshasa.
As we stand out amongst the rest.
And we are here to inspire you.
From the Horn of Africa to the Equator's indigenous people.
Ko Galaxy Universal Network qhelekisa ditaba tse felletseng
Abapenyi bezindaba nezintatheli ezingesabi lutho.
bila woga, upendeleo, hatuogopi chochote.
Channel 500 on Starset. This is Galaxy Universal Network.
Experience the extraordinary.
Feeling is there that you're doing something special.
Have you lost it? Move!
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
Challenge your ordinary.
Why don't you start a dance class?
Experience the extraordinary with Starset.
The coronavirus outbreak.
Experience the extraordinary.
Tremendous waste and tremendous fraud. Mexico is, in fact, you will soon find out.
It is a day to celebrate.
We don't approve at all what's going on.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily unusual.
Challenge your ordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality has had no plan.
Experience the extraordinary with Starset. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful!
This is exactly what I was looking for!
DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with Starset.
Yes, welcome back. You are still with us right on the Pan-African Morning, and this is Galaxy Universal Network. Let's take a look once again at the headlines for this morning. The Department of Public Enterprise emphasized its support for cash-strapped national flag carrier South African Airways SAA. Now, this comes following the publication of the carrier's business rescue plan on the 16th of June in 2020. And in a statement, the DPE said that the government, as the sole shareholder of SAA, supports the business rescue plan, where it results in a viable, sustainable, competitive airline that provides integrated domestic, regional and international flight services. And according to the department, this is to resolve the untenable situation of the current South African Airways, specifically for its employees and its creditors, as well as to support important economic objectives. Now, the department also reiterated that the aviation industry in South Africa requires the capabilities of SAA that is reconstituted, restructured and reinvigorated without the legacy burdens, including corruption, poor leadership and unsustainable costs which have beset SAA's past. SAA was placed in a business rescue on the 6th of December in 2019, and this effectively means that the national carrier has been under complete direction and control of business rescue practitioners Les Matson and Siviwe Dongwana. Now, Gauteng police have launched a manhunt and an investigation into the murder of a toddler in Orange Farm. And according to Gauteng's GP spokesperson, Kay Makubele, at around 6 in the morning, a person collecting waste noticed a 3-year-old's lifeless body in a plastic bag and alerted the police. And upon their arrival at the scene, police uncovered that the toddler's body had been covered in stab wounds on her torso. Makubela further said that it was later further established that the child was reported missing yesterday on the 17th of June in 2020 in Orange Farm, and that arrests are yet to be made. And on our next story, the EFF leader Julius Malema reminded the party supporters of his commitment to helping the destitute and expressed the determination of his party's willingness to go an extra mile for the people. And in a brief clip posted by the party on Thursday, the EFF commander-in-chief reiterated his long-standing commitment, saying that even those in politics and business can at least that he always seeks to help those who are less fortunate, even without the presence of the cameras and statements, because of the understanding their pain and suffering.
I help the poor all my life. I build houses for the poor all my life. I take their children to schools. All of those who live with me in politics and in business, they will tell you that he always searches us to go and help the poor. We do so without cameras. We do so without statements, because we know the pain and the suffering of poor people. I don't read about poverty. I lived poverty. I know what it means to sleep without bread. I don't have to be poor to know where we come from, because I come from there. I can't be the same, because I can't be the same. I can't claim to be a working class, but my background allows me to lead the working class, because I know the struggles of the working class. That's who I am.
Well, still on our stories this morning, we are actually on the VBS story now.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Which is
Apparently
called...
a whole lot of them were, a lot of the guys were actually arrested yesterday morning, and they were not given bail, or they rather refused bail, right?
They actually could not afford the bail. Matsodzi, he said that 100,000 was a lot of money, and he's unemployed, but and also he does not own any assets, so he cannot try and sell anything to afford the bail. And having said that, we're actually joined by the NPA spokesperson, Uputsipho Ngwema, who's actually going to talk to us about this story. Mr. Ngwema, good morning and welcome to Galaxy News.
Good morning, and thanks for having us on your program. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking your time and speaking to us so early in the morning, Mr. Ngwema. We would want to know first, why did it take so long, to make this arrest, as Terry Matao's, report was quite very clear that they actually flaunted all the rules in banking?
The matter was converted into a police docket in May last year, and you must appreciate that commercial cases are very complicated, and the difference between the investigation that was done by Advocate Matao and the investigation that was done by this team is that this one is a criminal investigation. So the purpose of it is to go to court so that people can be convicted. So when you do that, you need to have your credible witnesses, you need to have your formidable, have all your evidence. And that means you have to be thorough. That means that you don't have to leave anything in terms of taking that matter to court. So the other ones, the evidence was not tested, and in this particular case, the evidence is going to be tested, witnesses are going to be called. So you need to be ready. You need to go through everything meticulously in order to make sure that your evidence is going to stand the test of time.
You have more than 45, or rather more than 40 witnesses that are willing to come forward. Please let us know, are these witnesses that said that volunteered to come in, or these are witnesses that said, you know what, that you got through, you know, your investigations and said come through? And we know that when we deal with people with so much money, at least that have been looted, it might be a little bit risky. Are you guys taking measures that you can actually now make sure that some of those witnesses are protected?
Yes, indeed. It's a combination of witnesses. Of course, through investigations, we get statements, but also, as you alluded earlier, that there were other investigations that would have identified very individuals that would be able to assist with information. The court yesterday imposed conditions on the accused, amongst them not to interfere with witnesses. So we are taking appropriate measures to make sure that that doesn't happen. Of course, if it does happen, I will bring it to the attention of the court.
Tata Sipho, what's going to happen actually to the municipality who was banking with VBS?
The investigation is going to have a number of legs, and including that leg where we are still going to investigate. In fact, those investigations are taking place. So this is one leg. We are ready with it. We are ready to go to court. But also we are continuing parallel investigations on various legs. It's going to be a long road, but we are certain that we will follow each and every piece of credible evidence in this regard.
You know, some of this, I mean, the person who got more than 900 million rand out of these billions that were looted, they said that they do not have money to just have 100,000 rand bail, and also they have no assets. During your investigations, is it true that they do not have assets? Does it mean that they would, during the looting and everything else, all the other flashy things, the cars, the boats, the chartered aircraft, and everything else that we have seen being flaunted in public was actually maybe rented or registered by other people?
The court did not accept the assertions that were made yesterday that people did not afford 100,000. That's why bail was set at 100,000. So we are confident that the amount that has been put by the court, they should be able to afford it. And we believe that they can marshal resources in order to raise 100,000. And I think the seriousness of the offense demands that we set the bail at 100,000. So we have no doubt that they should be able to raise that amount. They should be able to have access to it.
Were some of their assets not frozen?
Yes, there is a process of sequestration that has taken place amongst many of them. But that doesn't mean that they cannot afford the amount that the court has set.
Yes.
Okay. So with all these investigations going on in Tata Sipho, would you perhaps know if whether the people were able to get their monies back? You know, those that suffered and those that lost their money in VBS?
Our concentration as the investigating team is more on the criminal side, but we know that some monies were recovered up to a tune of about 2.2 billion. But there's still a lot that has not been covered. So that's what we are investigating, and our intention is to make sure that we convict people criminally, and other entities will be able to deal with the various aspects in terms of how that money is administered.
During your recovery, as you just mentioned, more than 2.2 billion rands was recovered. Then we know that during this looting, a lot of people that have suffered, you know, were the local bankers and as well as Stokvel groups and stuff. And those are people that obviously suffered the most on these pensioners and so on. Have you started already the process of maybe repaying the people that also suffered during this? And are those people, obviously the poor, were they the first people in your maybe payback?
As I said earlier, you must remember we are dealing with the criminal prosecution. We want to make sure that justice is served for those people. So our mandate in terms of the Constitution is to investigate and prosecute people criminally. The other entities will then have to deal with what is due to whoever had invested, given the amounts that they are able to recollect. But our focus as the investigating and prosecuting team is to make sure that those who committed criminal offences are convicted and sentenced.
And in your investigations, Dr. Sipho, are there any politicians involved in this scam or this VBS scam?
What we would want to do is, at the time we take actions against certain individuals and entities, is to announce those at the time we are taking action. So we don't want to give a running comment and speculations now, but our actions will tell you when we take them who is involved.
So, of course, we are aware that one of the EFF's leader's brother was also implicated in this. Was he amongst the people that obviously spent a night in jail?
I didn't get the fact that there were any of those yesterday. Most of the people, in fact, the people that appeared in court yesterday were part of the bank structures. There were employees and members of the board. So there is no one outside those people yet who has appeared. Those are the only people that appeared in court.
Are you still hoping to arrest more people, or the ones that you have the complete list of the people that are implicated on this case?
No, as I said, it's going to be a long road. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. So this is not the last time we come and announce or bring people before court. There will be other legs, and those people also will end up in court.
How long are you guys planning to obviously finalize this matter? As we have discussed already earlier on, that there were quite the poor people that were involved in this. So I would like to believe that the earlier you finalize the case is the better, so that people can actually get closure and some of them get their paybacks from this scandal. How long is the NPA planning to, at least, or maybe estimating that at least maybe in a year, 2 years, or how long do you guys think that you might be? Yes, you might be done with this case?
You know, the best thing we can do for those poor investors is to make sure that we do a thorough case, and we make sure that our case is successful. So we want to do this meticulously. So it's very difficult now. As I said to you, this is a very complex case, and it involves a number of people and a number of legs. So what we can assure them is that we are going to bring each and every entity and person that is implicated, no matter how long it takes. But we understand the impatience. We are also impatient. We want to see the results. But people must understand commercial cases are very complicated. This is going to be a long road, but I can't give you time frames right now. Suffice to say, we will make sure that those who are guilty of any of offences in this matter will be brought before court.
Perhaps in closing, sir, since they said that they do not have the 100,000 rand of bail, what does it mean? Hence, you said that you don't believe that they do not have that money. Because another thing I would like to believe is that maybe they're trying to play it safe, because if they say, yes, I have, you will go back again as an investigator and find out where did you get that money. So
people will definitely demand their money back.
Yes. So how do we go from here? What is it if they say that, no, we don't have money, we're going to stay in jail? Are you going to pursue them and say, no, you guys must go get the money wherever you've hidden it?
The court granted them bail of 100,000, and that money was supposed to have been paid by 4 o'clock yesterday in order to secure their freedom. So we will only get information today whether or not they paid, who was unable to pay. But it's between them and the clerk of the court now to be able to pay the 100,000. If they cannot afford the 100,000, they will then stay in detention until the matter is finalized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mgwema, for being with us this morning, and we hope that we will be definitely in touch with you quite very soon to get more developments on this story.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and thanks for having us on. Okay.
Thank you so much. And that was Mr. Sipho Mgwema, the spokesperson for the NPA, giving us more details on the issue of the NPA, Palisa.
Yes. And on that note, it is confirmed that they are still in jail. You know, the bail was supposed to be paid yesterday, but up until now, they haven't been paid. So So, yeah.
So we actually, as he says, that they will get more information on that later on today to hear if there was anybody who paid, and if there was somebody who paid, which was, I was saying that it's a little bit of a trap, you know, where they say, okay, you paid. How did you pay? Who paid? And so on and so on. So,
hey, well, on that note, Sisanda, you're still with us right here on the Pan-African Morning, and definitely for sure we are still bringing you more news and updates. For now, let's take a very short break. Don't go away.
The coronavirus outbreak.
Experience the extraordinary.
Tremendous waste and tremendous fraud. Mexico is, in fact, you will soon find out.
It is a day to celebrate.
We don't approve at all what's going on.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily unusual.
Challenge your ordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat. Challenge your ordinary. Experience the extraordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Now, I believe that my peace is my most valuable asset.
Absolutely beautiful!
This is exactly what I was looking for.
DJ Khaled!
It is a day to celebrate.
We're ready for action.
I like it when it's nice and soft. Yeah, that is nice.
How was it like growing up in Nigeria? Yes, sir, you know what it is.
Feeling is there that, you know, you're doing something special.
Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
You should just be what you want to be.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
From rural to urban, we bring you local and international sport.
From Cape to Cairo, from Nairobi to Kinshasa.
As we stand out amongst the rest.
And we are here to inspire you.
From the Horn of Africa to the Equator's indigenous people.
Ko Galaxy Universal Network, religisa ditaba tse felletseng.
Abapenyi bezindaba nezintatheli ezingesabilutho.
Bila woga, upendeleo, hatuogopi chochote.
Channel 500 on StarSat. This is Galaxy Universal Network.
Experience the extraordinary.
Feeling is there that, you know, you're doing something special.
Have you lost it? Move! Stop being so dramatic, Mira.
Challenge your ordinary.
Why don't you start a dance class?
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Welcome to Amandla Omnoto Business Talk Show.
It was a legacy left by the apartheid government.
Yeah.
It's very important that for business people, whether they are especially SMMEs, in doing business with developing countries.
The measurements, on the other hand, that have been introduced to deal with COVID-19 have harmed our economy beyond what I think has even been measured.
The giants like China realizing that the US and Europe are losing the grip in the world economy, and Africa was a playground.
Many of black people's small businesses in particular are not even registered.
Any country that has ever been reliant on IMF has never been able to come out.
Africa is indebted to Asia and Europe.
Welcome to Amandla Omnoto Business Talk Show, a show that discusses economic fundamentals with a focus on small businesses. Tune into Amandla Omnoto Business Talk Show on Galaxy Universal Network, channel 500 on Starset.
Welcome back again. If you have just joined us, we welcome you. We're still right here on Pan-African Morning, channel 500. Palisa, before we went on break, of course, we have had a very, very interesting conversation with the NPA spokesperson. Exactly, regarding the VBS heist. It's been a very, very interesting one. And now we have yet another a very interesting conversation that we're going to have right now. Let's just go straight into it. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Can we go there? Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Steph, for joining us this morning. We are actually, you're speaking to Sisanda, and I'm sitting here with my co-host, Palisa. We actually want to look into, first, obviously would like to appreciate your time this early morning for joining us right here on Pan-African Morning on Galaxy News.
Refreshing morning, my sister, to the viewers of the Pan-African Morning Jumbo Africa on this Youth Month in South Africa, and as well on the eve of the World Refugee Day. Jumbo.
Are we correct when we say that? Hey.
Asante sana, asante my sister. Thank you.
Oh, wewe waongea Swahili.
Oh, was that in Swahili? Did you speak
Yes, I'm asking you, ongea Swahili. Mimi naongea Swahili, so we might as well just continue in Swahili. No, say thank you. The reason why we brought you today to be part of our conversation is, first thing that we would like to bring to your attention is that Galaxy Universal Network is actually broadcasting in the entire African continent, which we have got a great interest in our beloved continent that would really love to have these very building conversations around the future of Africa as a whole. Now, we have seen, recently during the COVID-19 situation that is happening in the whole globe, and Africa, initially it was predicted that we will be the ones that are suffering the most out of this. But now things did not go the way as predictions have placed.
No, definitely, Sister Palesa. And I think for the viewers, it's very important that sometimes we can rely on scientific data of the epidemiologists who are dealing with the epidemic that tend to be the pandemic. And as you have alluded, numbers are very low. But remember that in some parts in the southern hemisphere, we are moving towards the winter season. It is still very important for us to take heed of the weight of the Ethiopian director, Ghebreyesus, what he has raised the issue of saving lives, and at the same time that we are facing an invisible virus that this continent has been facing many epidemics, not even pandemics. Like you'll understand that DRC Congo, there was an upsurge of Ebola virus as well. Now we are having coronavirus, and as we are looking at the numbers, we have to be looking at even the recoveries as well. And at the same time, like we are looking, both South Africa and Egypt are now ranking high. And maybe we should allude to the fact that they might be doing effective screening and testing, and at the same time taking the precautionary measures. We still have countries that are still not complying or even conforming. You'll understand that countries like Malawi are going for the elections. Countries like Burundi came just out of elections. But we see the countries like Ethiopia pushing their elections for 2021. We see even South Africa saying that they might consider local government elections not to be in 2021, rather in 2024. And finally, we saw the passing of the president of Burundi in the alleged issue of COVID-19. So, in short, I want to say to you, we cannot rely only on the Western scientific data that comes from Johns Hopkins University, and at the same time working with the African Center in Addis Ababa. So we need to rely even on our National Communicable Disease Center to say, how do we deal with these viruses and as well as the global pandemic?
Okay.
Yeah. No, you can go ahead.
All right. Now, I wanted to ask, right, we've got our very own local medicine, like this plant that was discovered that it does help in healing. Umhlonyane, rona ka Sesotho re re ke lengana. Do you know if whether it has been approved to assist the COVID-19, throughout the whole world?
Definitely. We understand that Madagascar entered into a confidential clause that most of us are not privy to it with the World Health Organization. But we see this week as well a country like Chad going to Madagascar to go and pick up those COVID organics, which is Artemisia, as you have said, that it is another form of a herbal plant. That is a supplement, but not the vaccine. So it is important as well in Southern Africa, to go back to our indigenous knowledge system, to look back at our herbal systems of how do we deal with our immune system, how do we deal with the a less common flu that is now spreading in various forms. So I will say that Africa needs to go back and look at how the traditional medicine strategy of World Health Organization of 2005 spoke about that in Africa, 80% of us, we do rely on traditional medicine. So you ask yourself, what is then traditional vis-a-vis Western vaccine or Western medication? Because in Africa, we do rely on our herbs because we are the people of the soil. So it is important that even our National Command Council in South Africa has somehow left the traditional healers out. And they were brought at a later stage and to be told that you need to just conform and comply. So what I was trying to say that even in Madagascar, they have made this breaking through, but it is not yet a vaccine.
So let's just take a very commercial break and pay some bills. Please do stay with us. We will continue with this conversation.